stock compounders? Brad here. So big news with Seritage Growth Properties. Yesterday, it was announced that CEO Benjamin Schall was going to be resigning, stepping down, leaving the company. Okay. As you can see here, Benjamin Schall has been with SRG for over 5.5 years. So the hunt is on to replace the CEO. Now, I just wanted to show this price chart for Seritage Growth Properties. So we know Monish Pabrai was buying back in May, probably somewhere around $7 a share. We had a big spike here, up to $21 in June. Now, recently, the CFO resigned. Okay, he announced his resignation on November 10th. Now, you can see here, there wasn't much of a dip from that. Okay. It went down, almost $1 per share. We don't know how much of that was attributable to the CFO resigning. This one is a little bit steeper. You can see in the last day, the stock price dropped 15%. Okay, after Benjamin Schall announced that he would be resigning. So we can take a look at the press release real quick. They call it the CEO transition. Okay, that's a gentle word for it. Seritage Growth Properties announced today, December 10th, Benjamin Schall, the company's CEO, president, and trustee, is resigning from his role to pursue another opportunity. Facilitate the transition by mid-January 2021. The Board of Trustees will conduct a search for his successor, which shall include both internal and external candidates. Okay. Now, this part at the end here, Mr. Schall's departure is not the result of any disagreement with the company on any matter relating to operations, policies, or practices. So essentially what it's trying to say there is he's leaving on good terms. Okay. There's no issue with the business. I hate these kind of things. I mean, I just want to know, I want the details, right? And of course, they're not going to really tell us anything in this press release. Now, there's some really good kind of message board activity on corner of Berkshire and Fairfax related to what just happened with Seritage Growth Properties. And so I pulled a few of those messages out. And I just want to take a quick look at these. So in response to this news that the CEO is transitioning, here are a few responses from some very smart investors on corner of Berkshire and Fairfax. Definitely a troubling development, particularly given that no successor is lined up. We don't know who will be replacing Benjamin Schall in January next month. I think Ben is very important to the thesis. So this investor is concerned. He could be difficult to replace. Could be trouble for the company. Next comment, the CEO and CFO gone. Okay. Benjamin Schall did accept a position with AvalonBay, which is another, real estate. I think it's a REIT. And I guess it's supposedly it's pretty highly regarded within the industry. Probably not a bad move on his part. The incentives from SRG probably wore off. He's been there 5.5 years. Maybe he's looking for, a fresh pulse of stock options and, benefits, right? Kind of hit the reset button on that whole thing. And there's a link here. Business Wire talks about how, AvalonBay appointed him as the new president and CEO. Opinions can flout on how troubling it is. I put it mildly concerning. With everything on pause, it's not a deal breaker nor a crux to the thesis. Ben had the experience to do the job, but he wasn't a boom or bust piece of the puzzle. I'm willing to bet they find someone willing to take on the challenge. The incentives are there, and a fresh perspective in a post-COVID world might be a good thing. Would not be bad. Okay. Yes, they'll have to bring in a new CEO, which means several months of searching, new compensation package loaded with more freebie shares, and the worst part for shareholders, another 2 to 3 years of honeymoon where the CEO can rightfully or not make excuses and talk about the bigger picture. So, lots of talking, not much doing. Okay, that's the concern here from this commenter. And then finally, we have the last one here. I'll hazard a prediction. The next CEO could be another internal candidate, right? The CFO was replaced with an internal candidate. I believe that was Amanda Lombard. And so it's interesting. These Kenneth Lombard, obviously they have the same last name. Is this a husband and wife? I couldn't find out that information. But that would be very interesting if the CEO and the CFO, the president and the executive vice president were married. That would be, I don't know, could be an interesting dynamic there. So Kenneth T. Lombard could be, the next CEO. They're kind of speculating with that. And I guess Kenneth gave a talk with Mike Milken kind of early in the pandemic. I believe that was in June, on how Seritage is creating value and why Seritage is uniquely positioned in a market with excess real estate. So you can check out that link. It's like a 20-minute podcast episode with Kenneth Lombard. So, what's my take? Certainly no part of why I'm investing in Seritage Growth Properties had anything to do with Benjamin Schall or even the CFO that has been replaced. So, it doesn't look great. It points to the fact that there could be some internal strife. There could be some issues internally that may play out in a negative way for this company moving forward. We don't know. All we know is this press release that was, ridiculous in terms of how little information it gave us. But I'm kind of on board with this one here. Mildly concerning, right? Not a deal breaker. I'm not excited about it necessarily, but I'm not losing sleep over it. Clearly, the market had a little reaction to it, down 15% on Seritage. But I'm not too concerned at this point. Again, I bought in because it was a heads I win, tails I don't lose much bet. It was based on, the value of the real estate that Seritage owns. I thought that provided a pretty comfortable floor for kind of how low the equity can go. And I could very well be wrong on that, right? So this is not investment advice. Do your own research. But that was really why I got interested. And of course, Monish Babrai, Guy Spear, Eddie Lampert, Phil Town, all interested in this company. That helps a lot as well. As a shameless cloner, of course, that helps. Now, the last thing I want to point out, I got this website from Karan, who's another YouTuber. I actually just got off the phone with him. Great guy. We're probably going to do a collab in the near future. But he pointed me to this site as an interesting way to come up with stock ideas, right? Companies where there's a lot of short interest, right? There's a lot of investors selling these companies short. And you can see here, Seritage Growth Properties, short interest, 40.69%. It's a very high short interest. So, that was just interesting to me. Short interesting. Anyway. It was interesting to see Seritage in here. And this is something I'm going to be digging deeper into. It's when you have so much short interest in companies like this, stocks tend to be quite volatile, which can be really good for value investors who know what that business is worth, and it provides more opportunities to buy in at attractive prices when you have so much volatility. And I'm sure a lot of these companies are companies to stay far away from, but it's an interesting way to kind of generate a list of companies to kind of dig into. And for any of you interested or following Michael Burry of Scion Asset Management, just looking at this list, he owns a bunch of these, so that's interesting. Maybe Michael Burry is using this short interest as a way to drill into new investment ideas as well. GameStop has been a big one for him. I think he's bought AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, Michael's, the list goes on. So just an interesting place to start with finding new ideas. So I thought I'd throw that out there because I noticed SRG on here. But yeah, just wanted to share my thoughts, guys, on the CEO stepping down at Seritage Growth Properties. It's something I'm watching. It's not something that I'm concerned about at this point. So just wanted to give you guys that update. And of course, if you're not on corner of Berkshire and Fairfax already, definitely check that out. I don't benefit anything from saying that. I've just found it to be an incredible resource. When things like this happen with companies that I'm invested in, I can go and I can see, what really smart people are saying, and it can help me wrap my head around, what the implications are of these different events. So I will leave it at that, guys. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Take care.